Sometimes I could say that I've searched for that momentum, and every time I find like, oh, moment, it dies. I'm like, okay, we're back to square one. We have a lot of voice work in Montreal, dubbing for all these Netflix movies and shows. That's been also a journey, and especially over the last few years, it's changed. The landscape has changed. I'm an enigma. I'm in between. I'm a francophone, anglophone, franglais, like Wild Wild West that is constantly evolving. My goal from it was always to get visibility for acting. It wasn't to be TikTok famous. It's been a journey. It's definitely a journey.
Nir, who is a Montreal-based actor, writer, and sketch comedian, because I don't think I mentioned the whole actor bit last time, with a lot of flair and character-driven storytelling, will be joining us here. He's made notable appearances in hit shows like Transplant, as well as movies such as To Catch a Killer and Snow Day, and ear-targeted credited productions like La Mairie Project, 10 Years Later, and the Meta-nominated 33 Variations. Half. I hope you're digging that track. It is Summer Nir. You are in studio with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And you digging the music? You digging the vibes?
I love the vibes. It's summer vibes. It makes me feel like the beach.
It does make you feel like the beach,
does.
huh?
Pina colada. Yeah. Maybe a Miami Vice or something.
All right, yeah, why not? We'll go all the way.
Oh, so let's take you're diving in.
If we're diving in, if we're going in, you're going in all the way. I like that
Commitment.
style. It is very nice to have you back here, and it's great to see all the stuff that you're doing online. It's also exciting to know that you'll be involved again with Goal this year, which makes always makes me a little happy. You're people like having you on the team. You are definitely not only a good footballer, you're a fun guy to be around. That's a thing. That's a very important thing, I think, in 2025. Like it's important. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's a thing.
I appreciate that, and I actually am really glad that I keep getting the invitation, because every year I'm like, I tweak a muscle and I hurt my groin, and I'm a goofy guy, so I'm like, it's enough.
You're out within like 5-10 minutes of the game.
It's true. Every time I started, I'm like, I'm gonna go easy. I'm gonna take it easy, and I'm not gonna get hurt.
But then you're all in like Miami Vice.
I'm a competitive. I played like football, soccer my entire life when I was younger. So the moment the ball drop, like the whistle goes, I'm running. I take a kick, I pass, I try to steal, and then I hurt my groin.
And then that's it.
Then you see me wobbling for the rest of the game.
Actually, that's funny. One of the things I wanted to ask you, and I think we did touch on this last time, but you did play a lot of football growing up.
I did.
That's because of mom and dad, or is that just something you gravitated to because of friends? And when did that stop and why?
Okay, it's a good question.
Right?
So it started, my dad. My dad he played soccer, and he was or football. I'm going to make myself
Pops is mad already.
He played football. He also coached a little, and he's the one who introduced me to football at the age of 6. And I started playing for NDG Panthers.
Was that too young, or was that okay?
That was great. I thought it was. I loved being outside. I loved playing sports, and I was an athletic kid, and I liked just being competitive and being around other people. And I started young, and I learned to adapt, I guess, to the higher. When I got older, I got to adapt to the speed, to the competitiveness, and to the intensity. Sure. And I played for years with NDG Panthers. I was a striker. I played midfield at times.
That's amazing. Did your dad ever coach you?
No, he. Funny story about my dad, which is a kind of like a funny and touching moment, but also a little bit. Yeah. As a kid, I was a very self-conscious kid, and my dad was critical at times when I was playing. So after every game, early on when I started playing with the Panthers, he would kind of be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." He was critical of my performances.
As a coach would be.
Yeah.
Right.
But I wasn't the kind of kid that took that and like, I'm going to do better. I got more inward. Yeah. And so I kind of got frustrated with it, and I would tell my dad to not come see me watch the games. And so for years, I assumed he never came to my games until I got older, much older, and I was eating at my parents', and my mom was like, "Did you know that your dad would go watch all your games, but he would hide?"
No.
And then at the end of the game,
That's so
he would
great.
like drive home and let you, or you'd come look like he'd pick you up, and then he would tell me, my mom, that he played amazing, he was great.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was always under the impression that he was always critical. So
interesting.
yeah, so it was like, oh, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, but you find out later. Which
But yeah,
is just,
I stopped playing due to the fact that the Panthers did not make AAA. So I was 16, I think, or 15, and we were fourth out of the, like, you have to be top 3, and so I didn't make AAA. Well, we didn't make AAA.
Team, yeah, exactly.
And so everybody started moving elsewhere. So all the good,
to other teams.
Yeah, so they went to San Leonard, they went to RDP, they went to Penalinios at the time, and our coach also left. And
like that. It was like the full disbandal. The band was gone.
And the back then there was no MLS Montreal team. There wasn't Team Canada wasn't great. So my dad was just like, "Well, I'm not going to drive you to RDP and all these places. So it's up to you to make a decision. Do you want?" And I lost, I guess, that drive to start over. And then school started, and I was an awkward kid in high school. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay home and
do other things.
Yeah, and I played house league, though. I did continue playing soccer.
Well, it was in your blood for that many years.
Yeah, and then I continued until I was 26, 27, but I got hurt. Again, the groin. So I played hockey and soccer at the same time, both like for fun. And I injured myself in a hockey like friendly game.
Of course.
And right after I came back to play the next day soccer or football. Yeah, and I tried to cross it, and I really, like, for 6 months I was wobbly.
That's no good. Yeah. But wow, that's amazing. Today that it wouldn't be the case. There would be so many options if that team didn't sort of advance. What a difference that makes, huh?
It makes you think. Like, I loved football so much as a kid. I remember tournaments. I remember the adrenaline rush. I would take my bike to practices or rollerblade there. Yeah. I loved it, and I missed it for a long time. And thinking about now, if I would have played today,
what that would have looked like.
Yeah.
That's always such a older generation always looks back like, what as if I had stuck to it? What as if I had sort of kept pushing? What as if my parents or the coach had said, no, keep going, don't give up? You're like, I would have definitely been a pro, right? It's one of those baloney like stories. No, but you know what I mean? Like we all have it. We all have it.
Yeah, and same with my coach. My coach was a really, like, he was a Italian
hardcore football guy. Yeah,
and so. I wasn't strong, like, mentally at that age. And so I was a good player, but he would always pick on me in practices or even during games if I made a mistake. And I always would kind of close up and be, like, frustrated. And at one point, it got to a head where during practice, he would call me out. And I was like, what do you want? I'm trying everything. Like, why are you always picking on me? And he took me aside and he was like, because you have potential.
Wow,
I can see it.
That's a good coach.
And I couldn't handle that kind of, at that time. So I was always, it was hard on me. So I would come back very frustrated when I made mistakes. So.
You took it personal versus not a business criticism, but you know what I mean? Like it's very hard for a lot of people to take criticism. I'm in the same camp as you. I would take it personal versus what it is. It's a criticism of, if you correct this, it can get better.
It's also in the delivery, right? Like the old school mentality. Same with acting. The old school way of teaching or being an acting coach or a football coach is much more hard, where you expect the player to rise up for the challenge. Yeah. Whereas today, and for years now, it's been the opposite, where you kind of try to coddle or be nice or be like
smoother
kind, and try to find a way to build up their confidence while trying to coach. There's a fine balance, and it's hard. I think coaches.
Would you get into coaching? Have you thought about that?
I have, but I don't know if I would be good at, because I'm competitive. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be good at handling somebody not paying attention to what I'm saying. I tend to have also impatience. So I admire coaches, and I envy people that are able to really
to pull something out of somebody while staying calm on it.
Exactly, and educating, but also motivating, but also guiding in finding ways to fix mistakes. I don't know if I do that with actors and friends that we do self-tapes together, and sometimes in certain sports when somebody wants to learn something, I'll do it. I like trying to coach and getting an outcome. But I feel like also if I get challenged, I might be too competitive with it.
And sort of challenge back. And that's actually the curse of a lot of athletes that become coaches, get so frustrated because like, how come you don't get what I'm telling you? Right? Thierry Henry was one specifically that said it's a very hard, it's a hard thing to do when the coach was an ex-athlete, knows exactly what he's trying to explain and how to do it, but they can't. They're not pulling it out.
Yeah, and I also ramble, so trying to get a point across. Sometimes I maybe ramble too much to try to figure out how to say things. So I've thought about like teaching stuff, and I try sometimes. It's like trying to teach your parents to fix the computer issue. It takes me forever to get around to the actual point. It's like it's the button. I don't know.
You just do it.
Yeah, I don't have that knack of like the conversational way of being succinct, but also to the point with a certain tone and certain delivery.
Cool.
So it's a lot.
How is you speaking of acting? How's that going?
It's going good.
Yeah.
It always could get better. It's good.
So Montreal does tend to get a boost in the sort of theatrical time. Yeah, in the summertime. Have you seen that this year?
Yes. Well, compared to last year, a little bit. Like we've had a few movies.
Better than last year, yeah.
Yes. We've had a few movies come in this year. Like I've started getting auditions here and there for some movies. Surprisingly, there are movies that I'm seeing a few more movies in Ottawa, which seems to be a new place that is getting some traction. But Montreal's getting some movies.
Is that because of just literally the physical layout of? I mean, what would be the interesting?
No idea.
Like, what would be the draw there? It's not like it's a tax break.
Maybe there's. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's what I've seen. We are going to get some more. I've heard some productions coming back for new seasons, like shows, but also some new shows coming potentially in, hopefully, and maybe some more movies.
So it's more shows versus sort of larger budget films. All from the U.S.?
It seems to be like that. Again, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not in that world of casting and bringing in those productions.
But you're going out for them, so there's obviously...
So we've had a few major features that are being currently cast or shot. So it's a little bit more than it was. But acting in general is always very cyclical in Montreal. And there's other stuff that is also growing. Like we have a lot of voice work in Montreal, dubbing for all these Netflix movies and shows.
Do you dub for games? Yeah, I was going to say exactly.
So I started dubbing about 2 years ago for movies and shows. So that I've been very fortunate to get a few like Walla ambiance sessions and some roles here and there. And now I just took a workshop on dubbing for animation, which I didn't know existed either.
Wow.
So that's going to be fun if I can get into
like how to do the tone and this and up and down, like just be able to follow
weird
the character.
voices and playing.
Cool.
So that's cool. And there are video game. I feel like video game. I don't know if there's dubbing. I'm not aware. I know there's original voice for video games,
voice
like
work,
characters, and
that would be considered acting, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not necessarily dubbing, so I'm not sure on that. But that's one thing I would love to get into, doing mocap and video games. It's another one of those things that you want to like check off as a potential more experience to get.
Well, the more you do it, the more experience you get. But also, does that actually help you get more jobs? Like, is the system in place? Look to what was the last thing he did or she did to get the next job, or is it not? It really doesn't matter if your voice or your acting type fits, it fits, and that's the end of it.
That's another very good question. I think that you'd probably find multiple answers. I do think if you get an opportunity on a movie, TV show, video game, and you do a great job, you're going to be kind of like, okay, that person nailed that or did a really good job. Let's bring him in for something else, or it can bring momentum. Other times you do a good job, you get a part, but then it kind of dies down again. Maybe the industry is a little quieter, or you're just not the right fit for certain roles or certain opportunities that come about. So it depends.
Yeah.
Like I feel like momentum is. I've sometimes I could say that I've searched for that momentum, and every time I find like it dies. I'm like, okay, we're back to square one. So it's been a journey. It's definitely a journey.
Yeah, and it's a journey that you're on pretty much all the time, right?
Yeah.
So how is the comedy journey right now? Again, I'm asking things just, it's we see stuff online, and you have a persona online, but you also, create constantly online that is part of your job. And I don't, you know what I mean, right? It's part of your persona and your character.
Yep.
So you can't really let off. And so that's my question. So how's the comedy? How's the content space and then the comedy space? Because they're the same, but they're not the same, right? So
So I'm not necessarily a stand-up comic. I'm not a stand-up comic.
No, but you've done shows with people to bring people in and to.
Yes, I've done live sketch comedy for like charity and also for myself and with a partner, Michelle. But mainly I've been an actor that's done sketch comedy on social media to create content. And that's been also a journey. And especially over the last few years, it's changed. The landscape has changed. It's become a lot like acting when it comes to getting opportunities financially. So it used to be where brands would reach out directly to the creator and be like, hey, we want you to promote our brand and do this and do that. And now it seems to have become like acting where there's multiple layers. You got instead of casting, you got the brand going to a marketing agency
that then is then offering several creators.
And then from that marketing agency goes to content creator agencies.
Oh,
so they have a partnership or a connection or a chemistry or whatever relationship. So the brand goes, I need from this agency, I need 6 content creators. They go to the agencies they know, and those people have creators or influencers or whatnot, and they'll suggest, and then the agency will pick, and then they will confirm. Wow. So I don't have I don't necessarily have a social media agent. And I've
Shouldn't you get one?
I tried. Point? It hasn't worked, but I have an acting agent who's doing a great job in trying to get into that space. But it's hard because again, it's relationships that it's not the same world.
No.
So I've tried over the years. I'm an enigma. I'm in between. I'm a francophone, anglophone, franglais. I don't fit necessarily the English. I don't fit the French. I'm in between. And so it's been a difficult journey in the last 2 years to find those financial opportunities.
Yeah.
So I've built some relationship with some brands or some organizations, and that's been luckily helpful.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm seeing a lot of brands promote a bunch of things with a bunch of content creators, and I'm like, how do I get involved? And so I'll reach out to some of them, and they'll say, well, we work with this marketing agency. Reach out to them. And then I'll reach out to them, and they're like, we work with this agency. So sorry, this is how it works. And it's been a difficult...
But can't you follow that ladder and speak to that as your agent?
So I try. You apply, and just like an agent, they're like, they look at your numbers, they look at
yes
your
or
engagement.
No. Yeah.
And they look at the fit.
Wow, it's so complicated. Again, I know this, but it's always, if you know what I mean by it, if you're in the sort of content and whatever level, you understand that. But it's just, there's just so many like hurdles,
and it's getting more complex.
And it's getting more complex.
You're getting AI involved,
right?
So there are companies creating AI
Avatar
influencers
humans,
and avatars that
I've seen that.
Companies that are going AI saving money on that as well.
So they basically create the look, the feel, literally the vocabulary, the tone, and go play.
And it's only going to get more complex. But again, that's where I think there's some hopefully regulations or safeguards for some of the artists and content creators. But it's getting more complex, the space. There's also way more people that constantly jump in. The trends have changed from, influencers or creators that offer a sort of aesthetic or story to more personalized, like you are somebody who just talks about kitchen knives. And you're like, I love kitchen knives. This is my kitchen knife. And then people are like, oh my God, I love kitchen knives. And then you get followers. So it's evolving. It's a very interesting space. It's hard because, like you said, you constantly have to be creating in order to stay relevant, in order to stay in the mix.
Yeah.
But you also have to continuously find new, like I'm always trying to pivot because I create one video that does well, and I'm thinking, I'll just keep this one, but then it doesn't do as well, and then I'm like, okay, I'll try another one, and then the algorithms have changed,
and they continuously change. That's the whole point.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right.
So TikTok has been a lot harder to gain traction or to stay consistent even with views. Instagram is more stable, but still offers challenges. It's a like wild, wild west that is constantly evolving, and as an actor, my goal from it was always to get visibility for acting. It wasn't to be TikTok famous and be
do that full time. Like as that's the thing, and it's becoming more the invert.
It's harder to get to work consistently as an actor because just the industry is the way it is. Whereas social media, there's also financially the rewards when you do get brand deals, depending on your size of followers and all that stuff, can be very lucrative.
Yeah.
But it's not, again, it's few and far between for some people. And there's so many creators, there's so many like influencers that it's becoming difficult to even make a living now on that. So if you're lucky to be able to do that for a living, hey, embrace it. Yeah. It's a fun, hard kind of like mentally, because you got to be prepared for all of the eventualities of like, you got social media is a dark sometimes place as well from the audience perspective. You got to always be on, you always got to create, because if you stop you could lose all that. And sometimes you have just your own persona might no longer fit the trends, right? So you just might lose that momentum. So it is what it is. It's another avenue of creativity. I don't think it is it's going to go away anytime soon, but it is evolving very interestingly.
Yeah, and it'll just continue to evolve, right? Yep. And so that's part of it. And you got to follow with that. We're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, I want to ask you some more questions, and then we're going to do 12 questions. You ready for this?
Ooh, so more than 12 questions. Questions and then 12 questions.
Well, it's questions, 12 questions, and a plus 12 and a bit, and so you're totally right. There's too many questions. So thanks for ruining that bit. Okay, this is the first half on TSN 690. We'll be back after this quick commercial break. Welcome back to TSN 690 iHeartRadio. This is the first half. Nir, are you into hip hop? I saw you're bopping. You're bopping. Eric B. and Rakim, you feel those vibes?
Yeah, I remember growing up to Big Pun.
Amazing.
Who else, man? There's too many names.
Like, it just goes on and on. Yeah.
The list
all
goes
of
on.
it. Oh, amazing. Cool. I saw you bumping your head. And nobody can see that until later, but I like that. I like that you're down with the vibes. So we're talking about different things, content and media, and what it's like to be an actor and a comedian and in those spaces. But this is the first half. So I'm going to ask you, what would be one of the most memorable sporting moments that you've been involved with, family, friends, that you experienced that you'd be like, yeah, that one, I'll never forget it as long as I live?
On a professional side, like going to the professional sporting event, was when I was a kid. We lived in Winnipeg for a year, and it was the year that Solani came into the league. Amazing. And I think I was I wasn't at the game that he scored the rookie, the record, but we were there close to it. Amazing. And I remember just every time he touched the puck, it was like the Ovechkin moments in the last year. Everybody watching every game, everything, every second. Yeah. So that was I remember the city was alive back then when I was a kid, and I remember being in love with just that whole atmosphere. And I was such a huge Solani fan. Cool. And then the other one was in Montreal, but it was on a negative side. It was the Canadiens playoff games. I managed to score tickets. You know how hard it is to get those tickets at the playoffs. Got 2 tickets. It was like 2 years in a row when they finally made the playoffs. And me and one of my best friends, it was game like 5 or 6. Like one against, I think it was Philadelphia, and the other one may have been against Carolina, and we lost. And it was like, one was like third period or overtime. And I remember just sitting there. The memory I have is sitting there, the last remaining 2 in the Bell Center, just like waiting for the guy to tell us, all right, you guys can get out of here. I'm trying to clean.
Time to go.
Get out of here. So that was on the professional side. On the personal side, I do have a memory when I was a kid scoring a penalty shot.
Nice.
During one of our big tournaments against, I think it was like San Leonard, and we won. And I was the guy that had to kick the penalty shot to clinch it, and I hit the post off to the goalie, bounced into the net, and we won.
And
I
was just screaming. That's amazing. I love that it's still fully. It's burnt in your psyche.
One more if you have time.
Sure, here you go.
High school. Yeah. Our high school was a tiny high school. Yeah. Didn't have any sports teams. But me and my friend managed to get a soccer team involved. But we were playing secondaire 4 versus secondaire 5, and we were Sec 4, so we were the younger ones. And this was like a best of 3 or something.
Amazing.
And we were. The final game, we were down. It was like tied 2-2 with like a minute left, and one of my friends was going across it was a small gym. It was an indoor game. Going across on the left side, crosses it over. I'm running in, and I kick it one-timer into the goal. And I remember I was like, the whole school was watching this, was screaming. My friend grabbed me and like twisted. You know, like those when your legs are flying around.
Yeah, like in the
so that was, and then
dramatic.
I was a little more cool. Before that, not so much.
Not so much.
That one sealed the deal. I got myself the
sealed the deal.
Got
I like
myself
that.
the coolness vibe.
That sounds pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I definitely don't have a story like that. Community. Just before we get to 12 questions, how important is community being for you in support with comedy and in your life? You know, and what you're doing, business. You know, in your business, and also just sort of on a give back level to things that you do.
I think it's such an incredible thing to have a community around you. The power of community is so amazing, just because you're able to, when you're not feeling it, they can boost you up.
Yeah.
They can support you. They can make you feel like you are on top of the world. And like for me, I was trying to raise money for, we raised money for the last 3 years for the Montreal Children's Hospital. And without the community, we wouldn't have done anything.
Right.
And so it was great. I'm so grateful for the community I've managed to build over the last 10 years of doing social media. And just in general, I think the ability, like even when my niece was going through her cancer journey, I poured my heart out social media, which I wasn't comfortable doing. I'm not comfortable sharing personal stuff on social media, but yet the audience and the community just rose up to support and share. And we managed to get Simone Biles to then make a video, and it was just a beautiful moment. So I want to thank the whole community that has been with me and continues to be with me, but also just for your event, the community that comes out for a goal. It's amazing to watch how people show up.
For sure. No, but it's important, and what you guys are doing, again, big congratulations. We're always very happy to support what you're up to when you're, especially around the Montreal Children's. Amazing. Okay. Well, guess what, dude? It's 12 questions.
12 questions.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, it's not 12 questions, as you said. I already asked you 800 questions. So
14 questions.
Okay, so we get a little vibe going.
Let's go.
A little vibe, and then we get into 12 questions. You ready?
Make it happen.
Here we go. Did you like that? Did you like that move? You were vibing. Oh, man, for the videos later, those vibes, those moves. That was amazing. You know where that track comes from, right?
No.
Everybody, it's so rare that people know. This is Sesame Street. It's a little pinball, bing, and then it like flies around. No, you've never.
Oh, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I know, but it's the vibe. It's the vibe. It gets you moving, right?
It does. I can see how kids love that show.
And adults. All right, so here we go. It's going to be 12 questions here on the first half. You ready to go?
Bring it.
Number 1, what is your favorite film?
Shawshank Redemption.
What is your favorite song or band?
Ooh, I'm going to go with 112 for the band song. I'm going to do Bohemian Rhapsody.
Sounds good. Favorite sports team?
Habs.
Favorite athlete, dead or alive?
Oof. As a kid, I would tell you Maradona.
Nice.
As an adult, I would tell you favorite athlete would be, no, I'm blanking.
So stick to Maradona.
Maradona it is.
Number 5, what is your favorite food?
Sushi?
Because
there's a few of them, but sushi.
Okay. It's whatever comes to mind. Yeah. Number 6, what is your favorite drink, alcoholic and non-alcoholic?
Old-fashioned alcoholic. Alcoholic.
Man, you answered that one quick. I think you're ready for an old-fashioned.
Got an old-fashioned? I need an old-fashioned. And non-alcoholic? Water? Like
sure.
I used to
Look how fast you answered the boozy one.
Yeah, I used to have Coca-Cola, but I was addicted to it as a kid, and then I got headaches, and I stopped. Okay.
We're doing 12 questions here on the first half. Number 7, what would be the first thing you would buy if you won the lottery?
I would basically just eliminate all my family's debts.
Very nice. Number 8, dream trip.
Oh, Australia.
Number 9, how do you deal with stress?
I cry.
You cry?
Music? I don't know.
You
One
listen
of
to
those
music.
things.
That's
Or food. Oh, junk food. No, actually, sweets. Sugar.
Sweets, yeah.
Sugar.
We all love that.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Worst,
okay.
Really not good for you. But
the first half, after hours. Pajamas or no pajamas, Nir?
Pajamas. I'm too pale for no pajamas.
You just blend into the wall?
I'd blind everybody.
Number 11, what is your favorite fashion brand at the moment? You're just laughing. I love it. I love it.
I'm like in my head. The only thing I could think of because the only thing I bought was a Uniqlo.
But that's a brand, dude. That's
it is a brand, but it's not really a brand. But yeah, I saw.
No, hold on. It's a full brand.
But I mean, like, it's not the brand you would expect, right? It's a store that I buy a bunch of clothes at every so often.
No,
but yeah. So I would say
perfect answer.
But Adidas, like as an actual brand.
Perfect. Number 12. Name one thing you cannot live without.
Oh, chocolate.
Chocolat. And 12.1, even though this isn't your favorite sport, it's still what the first half's all about.
Oh, can I retract friends and family? That was a weird. Not chocolate, friends and family.
Very well retracted. This is good. You've just saved yourself a whole lot of trouble.
I'm already getting texts.
Yeah. What the? 12.1, one word to describe football. So football is?
Passion.
Beautiful. I love it. That was 12 questions, Nir. Thank you so much here on the first half. Why are you looking at me like that?
I love it because I love those questions.
Yeah?
I love those questions.
Amazing.
And I like I was quick but not quick enough in my head.
Oh, you were quick, dude. The cocktail came out quick, lightning fast. Thank you for joining us on the first half. We really appreciate your time and keep up all the amazing stuff that you're doing. Thank you again for supporting Goal. I can't wait to have you on the pitch this July 27th. But keep us abreast of everything that you're up to, and I'm sure there's quite a lot of things, and hopefully there'll be a lot of films as well.
Yeah, there's some fun things coming.
Yeah, amazing. So you'll keep us updated, and you know, this again, just keep doing what you're doing because it's fun to follow you online and to be part of your ecosystem. So thank you.
I appreciate you having me, both of you. I appreciate it, and can't wait to play some football at Goal Initiative.
See those NDG moves on the pitch.
Let's not tear
no
any
one gets